Alright everyone, hello and welcome back to the channel. Alright, now so here's a video that I came across just a couple of days ago that is being promoted by a big channel called Lackluster. Now I'm going to take a good guess if most of you, if not all of you, are aware of that channel, Lackluster. That channel pretty much showcases the fraud of their videos and, in my opinion, tries to justify their actions, okay? Well, this video that I found interesting, Lackluster put the video out just a couple of days and, in my opinion, is looking for sympathy, public sympathy to be given to Christopher Ruff, aka Direct D. Now, for those of you familiar with Direct D, aka Christopher Ruff, then you know that Christopher has been arrested and convicted 6 times. 6 times. We're not talking 2. We're not talking 4 times. We're talking 6 times. You would think by the 3rd time he'd figure out what the shit that he's doing, reevaluate it, because it's getting you into problems. But hey, Christopher wants to go out there. He has so much hatred, in my opinion, has so much hatred towards law enforcement that there's nothing going to stop him other than sending this guy away for a few more years, okay? And I'm sure most of you by now are aware that he did 7 years for armed robbery, okay? So I think, in my opinion, okay, this man is holding a grudge, and that's why he's out there doing what he's doing. It's a way of getting back at law enforcement for the shit that he got himself locked up, got himself the 7 years, and come back out watching fraudulent videos. Oh, I can go out there and get even with these guys for the shit that I got myself into, and then just hide behind the Constitution, okay? Because as we all know, when these guys come across officers, they start throwing amendments at them. You're violating my 1st, my 4th, and so on. Hey, and the officer starts tippy-toeing around him, and it is what it is. We're at this point here, and let's get into the video, and I'm going to point a few things out that, again, I say, in my opinion, Lackluster is looking for sympathy, trying to make this guy look like he has been wrongly accused, wrongly arrested, and wrongly convicted. Oh, I don't know what's going through that man's head to believe that shit, but let's get into the video.
Noticed a traffic stop down the street. As he normally does, he walked over to the interaction, greeting the officers with common pleasantries.
Howdy.
Hey, how you doing?
How's you guys' day going?
Not too bad. Hey, can you keep walking? You can film. Just keep walking over there.
What's your name and badge number, field training officer?
Go over there.
What's your name and badge
We'll
number?
deal with that later. You need to move.
Instead of saying solace, 17363, a total of 8 syllables, the officer responds with, "Go over there, we'll deal with that later, you need to move," a total of 14 syllables, doubling the amount of what he had to say, just to make sure that Direct D knows that he has no respect for the public or his department's policies.
Alright, so let me pause the video here, whereas, in my opinion, Lackluster is targeting people that are not familiar with Christopher. Because if you picked up on what came out of Lackluster's mouth, that Christopher, upon noticing a traffic stop and approaching the officers, he gave the officers common pleasantries, such as a "Hey officer, good day, and how you doing? How's the family?" and so on. Are you kidding me? I mean, the majority of the people are familiar with the shit that comes out of Christopher's mouth, which is belittling officers, talking down to officers, treating them like if they were dogs, talking shit to them. That's the true shit that comes out of Christopher's mouth. So again, I say Lackluster is trying to target these people that are not familiar with Christopher and hope they swallow what he sees, what he's showing here, let's say. And then to make an issue about the officer, he said more than all he had to do was state his name and badge number. And instead of all this, move to the other side of the sidewalk there and you can record there and so on. But he doesn't really throw out the full like the big picture, okay? Let's be real. Christopher is fully aware of these officers, their name, their badge number. He does this shit to these officers 7 days a week. You're gonna tell me that you don't know their name and badge number by now? Come on now. We all know the deal. When these frauditors ask a officer for their name and badge number, it's a power trip play, okay? Oh, you gotta listen to me, officer. You gotta answer my questions. Not to mention that the officer's in the middle of a traffic stop and he has to answer you. He has to give up his name and badge number while he's in the middle of doing an investigation. Get the hell out of here. Let's get back to the video.
This is public sidewalk right now.
You need to move.
This is a public
Seriously.
sidewalk. You better calm
need
down.
to move. You need to go back. I'm dealing with this. You're now interfering with our
You want me to go over
investigation.
here?
You can go over there.
Interfering is a physical act. Are you guys
need
all
to
or what?
go.
No. You know what? I'm on a
Dude,
public
if you
sidewalk.
don't leave to
What are you
that
gonna do?
part over there,
This is
I'm
a
dealing
public
with the-
sidewalk.
I'm
Call
doing
your
the
supervisor.
investigation.
Call your supervisor.
I'm doing an investigation
Call
right
your
here. If you
supervisor.
don't move back
Call your
over there,
supervisor.
so I can deal with
This
this
is Jay
investigation.
Blake of the Mesa PD.
If you don't move,
You
you're
don't have a
going to get
name,
arrested.
badge number, nothing.
You need to move back.
Is your body cam on?
need to
Arrested
move
for
back.
what? I'm on a public sidewalk. You
need to
can't
move
arrest
back.
me on a
We're dealing
public
with that.
sidewalk.
Hey, watch your driver.
Dude,
You
do
need
you
to move
think?
back.
Do you think? I'm on a
You
public
need
sidewalk.
to move back.
You want to put up tape or something?
Are you going to move back or no?
No. I'm on a
Okay.
public sidewalk.
You need to move back.
I'm on a public
need to
sidewalk.
move
You
back.
better check yourself, homie.
You need to move back. You're interfering with my investigation right
It's
now.
an
One more
physical
warning.
act.
One more warning. You need to
Physical
back
act.
off.
Go ahead, dude. 10 foot.
You need to back
10
off.
foot,
You need to back off. Okay, you know what?
Dude, don't touch me.
Sure, back
Don't touch me. I'm on a public sidewalk. Stop.
Direct D has now been arrested for failure to obey and found guilty.
So this is what I'm going to do, Mr. Ruff. That is the case of failure to obey a police officer. You were found guilty of that matter. I'm giving you 90 days of jail. 90 days of jail will be postponed. I'm placing you on probation for 24 months. You are directed to do counseling. I'm sending you to Prodigy Healthcare to do counseling. You are to contact them within 2 business days to set up that counseling.
Then, in June of 2021, Direct D was with several other auditors, filming an incident involving the Mesa Police, where officers asked the location they were at if they wanted the cameraman trespassed.
You solicited a trespass.
Hey.
You stupid piece of shit.
Hey.
You, deuce.
Come out and teach you how the law works.
Punk mother
Know your place, man. No, fucking
you, dude. You are a straight piece of shit, deuce.
fucking walking shame. You guys are walking.
I'm gonna make you famous again.
Can't cross this.
It's Chris here again, buddy.
Hey, dude.
Yeah. We're gonna make you famous again, you stupid son of a bitch.
The men all left after the officers advised them that they were trespassed, but 9 months later, because the county had other cases against him, they reviewed this video and levied new charges of trespassing and disorderly conduct against him and the other auditors on scene.
All right, let me pause the video here, whereas most of you might be familiar with this video, which I covered in a while back ago, and Christopher has some charges placed on him, nothing to do with trespassing, a lot to do what was coming out of his mouth, which was threatening this officer, talking all kind of shit to the officer. He threw every profanity in the book at this officer for no reason, other than the fact that he felt that the officer solicited a trespass from the people of the hotel here. Now, think about this, okay? For those of you familiar with Christopher, the guy runs around the area there with a scanner. The guy runs around with like 4 to 6 guys, and sometimes even more than that. They wait to hear where the officers are going to be going for a call for service, and now they want to meet the officer there. And then the next thing you know, they're surrounding the officer. Next thing you know, they're talking all kind of shit to the officer for no reason, other than just to insert themselves in the scene, belittling the officer, using every profanity in the book at the officer just for the hell of it. And you're going to tell me that the officer has to suck that up because he's a public servant? He has to stand there and be belittled belittled? He's trying to do a job, and the next thing you know, he has 4 to 6 guys there threatening his life, and he has to suck that up? Come on now. I mean, Lackluster wants to justify to stay on their the frauditor's good side. I mean, for all I know, Lackluster's a frauditor himself, but again, how do you justify this type of action as cop watching or activism? Threatening an officer for no reason other than to just get the views from your subscribers because you know the majority of your subscribers are cop haters? Come on now. You got to be stupid not to see through this bullshit.
In the case of 2021-071040, Mr. Ruff, I'm placing you on probation. Court does enter a judgment of guilt of offensive disorderly conduct as a Class 1 misdemeanor and trespassing as a Class 1 misdemeanor. 180 days of jail, 180 days will be suspended, 3 years of probation, and I am ordering counseling. I am ordering that you do anger management. On the trespass charges, 30 days jail, 30 days suspended, 12 months probation.
On top of that, the judge tried to order him not to film officers while conducting their duties in their official capacity.
As to the matters that you are being placed on probation for, and the failure to obey a police officer, and in this matter, Mr. Ruff, as a term and condition of your probation, I'm directing that you shall not go to areas where the Mesa Police Department are conducting an investigation. That you shall not record any members of the Mesa Police Department while you are on probation. That is the order of this court. And I know, Mr. Ruff, that you believe that you have a First Amendment right, and people do have rights to record. But when you violate those rights in the nature and the way that you did, Mr. Ruff, I believe it is an appropriate term of probation, given the nature and the contact that you had with the officers and the things that you were saying to them.
Then, in July of 2021, is a story I covered previously on this channel, where again, DirectD was filming police interactions. Keep in mind that this happened prior to the judge's egregious order for him to stop filming the police. During this traffic stop, officers rolled out an exorbitant amount of crime scene tape to push the men back as far as possible, and then asked the property manager to trespass them from the property. After the traffic stop was over, the officers stayed on scene.
Keep in mind, you guys, if you're just joining us, the stop has been over for 10 minutes now.
Once the officers set out to leave the scene, it appears that one of them got their feelings hurt and arrests DirectD for trespassing after his foot unintentionally touches the property line.
No number markers?
Do you think this is going to help when you guys try and get them laws passed? Approach them and cause chaos. We know what the game is, dude. Did you get all of us? Did you get all of us on body? Shut up, motherfucker. Yeah, get me on body cam saying dumb shit so you can get a law passed. Ed Westing ain't smart. We know what the game is. Bye-bye, sucker. Don't touch me. What are you doing? What are you doing? Dude, I haven't trespassed. You guys see this right here?
Right here on your property.
This is an easement.
Oh,
are you serious?
You guys see this right here?
All right, so let me jump back in here, whereas if you picked up on a few things that Lackluster threw out there, I found very funny, where he states that the officers used an absorbent amount of crime scene tape to push the individuals back. Now, I think we've all heard frauditors state that if you don't want us to go into a particular area, well, then you have to tape off the area. And that's what the officers actually did here, okay? They tape off the area where they don't want nobody walking in. And now here they are bitching and moaning that the officers, they taped off too much of an area, too much now, because now we can't hear or see what they're doing. And let's be real, the majority of these frauditors, they don't give a damn about the transaction that's going on between the officer and the people that they're dealing with. Their whole intentions is just to be there to make the officer's life a living hell. Okay? Screw anything else. They just want to harass the police. That's it. Now, you also heard Lackluster state that the crime scene was done with. Then you got to ask yourself, why did Christopher still hang out there? Why didn't he leave knowing that the crime scene is over with? Okay? Because the whole idea of cop watching is to ensure that the individuals that are dealing with the police, if something goes wrong, well, then you got to document it. But again, I say the crime scene is over, but he chose to hang out. And why is that? to continue harassing the police because that's all he wants to do. Okay? Now, whether it was just a portion of his foot that stepped back on the property there that got him trespassed and arrested, hey, I don't know. All I know that if you continue to harass police on a 7-day basis, they're going to look for any little damn thing that they could hit you with, and they're going to hit you with it, okay? And you got to only kick yourself in the ass for that one because you brought that shit upon yourself for harassing these guys 7 days a week. Think about it, damn it.
Slightly over the line, but the officer's legs make it hard to tell for sure. But if we return to the revised statute, we can take note of the word knowingly. The state would have to prove that if Direct D's heel crossed a few millimeters onto the property, that he did so knowingly. There are many articles online discussing criminal trespassing in Arizona specifically, and the defense of intent. I personally didn't witness an intent to return to the property, and I doubt the officer did either, which leaves the question, was this retaliation? Despite the defense of intent, Direct D was still found guilty by the same judge.
In the case of 2021-043799, I am not going to place you on probation for that criminal trespass case. However, Mr. Ruff, in light of the fact that I know you had a total of 6 cases and I realize that 2 of them were dismissed, so I'm not taking those into consideration, but the fact that you continue to pick up these cases, and that your behavior hasn't been changed or modified, I do believe that jail time is warranted, Mr. Ruff. It's based upon your prior criminal history. It's based upon the number of cases that you picked up in this court. It's based upon the conduct that you continue to show and the disdain that you continue to show, not only this court, but others. For that reason, Mr. Ruff, I did find you guilty. I'm imposing 5 days of jail.
That's it.
Those 5 days are straight time. There's no 2 for 1. That jail time will be concurrent in the case ending in 2021-063-564. In the case of 2021-043799, I am not going to place you on probation for that criminal trespass case. However, Mr. Ruff, in light of the fact that I know you had a total of 6 cases and I realize that 2 of them were dismissed, so I'm not taking those into consideration, but the fact that you continue to pick up these cases, and that your behavior hasn't been changed or modified, I do believe that jail time is warranted, Mr. Ruff. It's based upon your prior criminal history. It's based upon the number of cases that you picked up in this court. It's based upon the conduct that you continue to show and the disdain that you continue to show, not only this court, but others. For that reason, Mr. Ruff, I did find you guilty. I'm imposing 5 days of jail.
That's it.
Those 5 days are straight time. There's no 2 for 1. That jail time will be concurrent in the case ending in 2021-063-564.
By now, you should be able to see the pattern. And finally, on October 6th of 2021, Direct D and a few others went to the Mesa City Hall to request records. While there, he approaches a stairway with 2 welcome signs and decides to go up them.
All right, so I want you guys to take note of this welcome sign to this location here that states all visitors must sign in at the security desk. And as we all know, frauditors, they feel because the location is a public building that they don't have to sign in. They're a part of the public, and they can go in when they want to go in and do as they please. And that's the kind of attitude that gets them arrested in this video.
At the top of the stairs are art pieces from a local school that are for sale to the general public, and having already checked in with security, he figured he could go up as he pleased.
Why not? All right. Says what?
Only employees go upstairs, you have to check in.
It says customers, and it says check in. This is a public building. I don't have to check in.
To go upstairs, you do.
Says who?
Security made it clear that he had to check in, despite the policy's lack of a supporting Arizona revised statute, but then the guard addressed him by his first and last name.
Oh, is there an ARS or something attached to that? That makes it legally obligating to...
Mr. Ruff.
You guys check that out.
Mr. Ruff, Christopher Ruff, right?
Check that out. Famous. You're famous now, buddy. Yeah, so you know I don't need to sign anything. No, I don't.
After walking only 2/3 of the way up the steps to view the art, he returned to the lower level and was immediately trespassed from the building.
Well, I done did it. Actually, I can go upstairs.
All right, you guys, now.
It says Mesa, all visitors must sign in.
I'm Officer Brown. My badge number is 20650.
Am I being trespassed?
Yes.
Under threat of arrest?
Yes.
Yes, awesome.
Gotta go.
Thank you, sir.
Direct D complies with the order to leave and walks out to the public sidewalk, and moments later, several officers of the Mesa Police Department walk over to him and place him under arrest.
You the sergeant in charge?
That's a lieutenant over there.
Oh, there's a lieutenant here too?
Yeah. So we didn't do anything illegal.
You're going to jail for trespassing.
Jesus Christ.
Go ahead and give him your camera.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not.
Call the lawyer.
So they're putting him under arrest for
Trespassing on public property, you guys.
He took the charge to court and Mesa convicted him, essentially because he went up the stairs that hosted an art gallery that had 2 welcome signs, and that anyone was allowed to go up so long as they checked in.
In the case of 2021-063-564, does enter a judgment of guilt for that criminal trespass charge. I am placing you on probation in that matter for 12 months. I am giving you 5 days of jail. Again, those 5 days of jail will run, it'll be a straight time, no 2 for 1. That will run concurrent with the 5 days of jail in 2021-043-799.
Direct D said that he would appeal the court's decisions, but in Arizona, to get your appeal to the Superior Court where it can be heard, you must file specific paperwork with the court that decided against you, and only then will they transfer you to the Superior Court. The irony is, the court is also the guardian of that paperwork, so in order to file an appeal against the court's decision, you have to ask them for the paperwork that only they have, and then after they've provided you with their paperwork, you submit it back to them. After you send their paperwork to them, they review their paperwork that they gave you and then decide to approve or deny your motion. The required paperwork is a very specific list, as defined in Rule 7. Direct D asked for those specific items and paid over $1,000 for copies of them, but the court sent incomplete transcripts. He requested the items again, but they just sent duplicates of what they had already given him. Since October of 2022, he has filed a total of 5 requests for the complete transcripts, asking for the exact items listed in Rule 7, and the court has still never furnished the correct records. And now, in June of 2023, Judge John P. Tatz denied Direct D's request to appeal, claiming that the court has no duty to provide the documents, even though they're the only ones that have them. The judge also mentions that his decision is based on the fact that Direct D didn't request what specific items he needed, and instead listed every document listed in the previously mentioned Rule 7. If it sounds ridiculous, then you now understand how the justice system works. On top of all that, Direct D asked for a court-appointed attorney, and then allowed the attorney to withdraw for seemingly bogus reasons, and now refuses to grant him new counsel. And now, on July 21st, he has to appear before the court, where it is likely that he will be taken into custody to serve the sentences for all 4 of the incidents that you've just watched. So how can you help? If we're being honest, not much outside of making your opinions about this known to the DOJ, the Mesa City Council, and others. Contact details for all of them can be found below. And outside of that, be sure to head over to Direct D's channel to show him some support and to get the latest updates on these cases.
Alright, so as I mentioned in the beginning of the video there, that Lackluster threw this video out there looking for public sympathy, looking for people to give Christopher the support because he's in need of their support. Now, he probably will get it because there are a lot of people, unfortunately, that hate our government, hate our law enforcement officers, and they will support assholes like this that go out there and throw jabs at the government and law enforcement, okay, as we see with Sean, okay, Reyes there, Long Island frauded, okay, every time he gets arrested, the guy is up to 40,000, guys, $40,000 between two GoFundMe accounts. You can't make that shit up, okay? And here Christopher is hoping for the same thing now, because the way Lackluster put it, our system is screwing him around with giving him a lawyer. And let's be real, for those of you that have been keeping track on Christopher, the court's given this guy, what, 5 public defenders so far? And every time he would get a public defender, he'd turn around and do something to get that public defender to, like, excuse himself, okay? And in my opinion, Christopher was just doing this as a tactic to prolong the case. But no, it's time now. It's time to pay. It's time to do your time for this shit, okay? I mean, come on now. This guy thought he was going to continue to get away with the bullshit of harassing police, and I can't go for it. I can't. Listen, I respect anybody who goes out there that wants to hold our government accountable. I could stand and support somebody who legitimately wants to hold our government accountable. None of these frauditors, none of them. I have not found one yet that is actually doing what they should be doing, holding government accountable. All they're doing is causing chaos so that they could for gain on YouTube, okay? I wish they were doing something legitimately, and they would probably make some changes, okay? They would make changes if all of these guys would work together and do the right thing. They would make the changes that we all would all appreciate. But again, these frauditors, all they see is give the people, the people out there who there's a market for the people out there that hate our law enforcement officers and our government, and let's give them what they want. They want to see chaos, we'll give them chaos, and that's what they do. Now again, Lackluster is sending people to Christopher's channel to support him, and when you go on Christopher's channel, what do you see? His Cash App. Hey, another Sean Paul Reyes. You get arrested, let's make some money out of this deal here. So I guess he'll have money on his books when he does his time. Let me know your thoughts on the video, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.